This has been a nice collaboration over the last 2 years. This is our second year of doing it, and it just goes to show that Enterprise Ireland recognise the value and insight that healthcare professionals have in either recognising challenges that need solutions and then getting on that path for developing those solutions. Okay, the Clinical Innovation Award is this vehicle to support those of you with those ideas, and I'm delighted to see Anne-Marie and Sarah here as well, who'll talk a little bit about their journey in this space as well, to give you some context. And both Anne-Marie and Sarah work in healthcare. I'll let them tell their own story. Okay. So, sorry, thanks, Mike. Yeah, so I'll give a quick overview of the program, and Zara and Ellen will, well, just going to do something. We'll give a talk. And we have Kevin Dalton from the Tech Transfer Office in UCC here as well. The reason the Technology Transfer Office from UCC are involved is they are the ones that they're your point of contact to engage in this program with the university. So it's housed within the university so that Enterprise Ireland can engage or transfer the funding over to this program. It's a little bit convoluted, but you're within, in terms of the way I'm explaining it, but you're within the, I suppose, the low risk environment of a university with all the supports and such around you in terms for developing these ideas. Okay, and then as I mentioned, Sarah and Anne-Marie will be here to speak about their experience. So before I jump into it, I'll just give you a quick overview of the Health Innovation of what we do. We are a joint initiative between the Department of Health and the Department of Trade, Enterprise and Employment. Funded and supported by Enterprise Ireland and the HSC. And our role really is to facilitate the connection between those with ideas, products or solutions to unmet needs in healthcare, to those with the experience and expertise to evaluate and adopt or implement those ideas. And we have a national presence in Cork, Galway and Dublin. Sorry, we have a national presence with offices in Cork, Galway and Dublin, and we're co-located between hospital groups and universities and technical universities. So that's University of Galway, UCC, MTU and Trinity College Dublin, with the South-Southwest Hospital Group down here, SAILTA up in the West-Northwest and the Dublin Midlands. And half our team are clinical personnel, so their day job is working in the clinical settings. There's nurses, there's pharmacists, physiotherapists, there's a nice mix. So they know the system, they know the people, and they provide an awful lot of insight. And the other half then are like me, they're like project managery type people working on the university side. Okay, so as I said, the Innovation Awards, the Clinical Innovation Awards, is to support all healthcare professionals. So it's really a vehicle to explore the commercial feasibility of your innovative idea. That hopefully has potential to transform the way medical care is delivered. So it's not something like a process improvement or a service development. This is more about a much more global perspective. So it's a new product or a medical device or something like that. And it can be in any kind of technological area or discipline. So why do it through a feasibility? There are a lot of ways to implement change, and the feasibility of it, the commercial feasibility, is hugely important. Who's going to pay for it? So rather than just building it and trying to get it out there, this provides expertise. So the funding goes to hiring a consultant to go out, check the marketplace, see if there's actually a gap, if there's people willing to pay for it, if there's a need for what it is you're developing, so that you're bringing something forward that will go into a market, as opposed to developing something and getting it out there. On the back of a successful or a positive report, there's further funding streams which Tara will speak about, that they kind of shoehorn into technical development funding. So to quite a decent amount of money to get projects up and running. Okay, so as I said, this is for all innovative technologies at all stages of development. So it can be at an idea stage, or you might be working on a rudimentary prototype, or you may even have developed some sort of system. It can be an AI or whatever, machine learning. And as I said, we're looking really for things that are bigger than kind of service development or process improvement. So something that has to go out. So that's medical devices, diagnostics, robotics, digital therapeutics, that sort of stuff. Okay, So as I said, it's open to everyone working in healthcare. So that's those working in public hospitals, private hospitals, third level institutions that have research hats, or in non-profit research organizations. Academic and researchers can work together for this. So if you know somebody already working in the research space, or you yourself are, and you have a clinical hat as well, then please apply. The lead applicant, and this is probably the most important thing, so you may be approached by an academic who has an idea, but the lead applicant has to be a clinical person. So that's coming from them, from you. Okay, so what do you get? The winners of the award will receive €15,000 from an Enterprise Ireland feasibility fund. This is a grant, as I said, to investigate the commercial feasibility of your innovation. And then winners will be announced and presented then at Enterprise Ireland's Big Ideas event, and there's information on last year's Big Ideas online, but also on our website. You can see what that is. It's quite a cool event, showcasing real early stage companies and startups, as well as innovators and entrepreneurs that are bringing their ideas forward. I suppose they're kind of like the unicorns, I guess, that are going forward. Okay, so yeah, I've kind of gone through this already in a sort of rambling way, but the cost of addressing problems in healthcare is extremely large, and the reason why you need to go down the commercialization route is because healthcare can't afford and doesn't really support the development of these type of ideas. So it has to go outside the healthcare system to get that funding, get that support, to do the development, to ultimately bring it to market or to the patient or to the users in the clinical side. And this is, for want of a better, well, it is one of the only, I suppose, systems that's available at such low risk to you as a person to put your idea in. You get the funding, it's outsourced to a professional then who can go and do that. And if there is something there, they've identified the market, the entry point, all of that sort of stuff to develop that idea and kind of bring it forward to the next stages. And it really, you haven't invested anything but your time and your kind of effort at this point. There's no risk to you financially. Okay, right. So how do you apply? It's all up online on our website. So if you go to hih.ie and just follow the links then for the Clinical Innovation Award, download the application, fill it out. You'll see we have a whole load of supports on our website as well, in terms of people who've gone through this before. There's like 20-minute interviews with them, their stories. You can watch that on 2x, get through quick. And also a how-to fill out the applications, which kind of go through the points that the reviewers, Enterprise Ireland, will be looking for. So it's kind of really, you'll understand the clinical need, because you're dealing with these problems every day. You'll understand that. But what you're really looking for as well is what the commercial need is as well. So there's pointers on that, like who's paying for it, how much, who are the competitors. And it doesn't have to be a huge deep dive, but if there's no competitors out there, you probably haven't looked hard enough, or why are there no competitors out there? That sort of kind of thinking for the application. Now, the application itself is quite short. You do need to link in with an academic institution. So the TTOs, Kevin is here to talk about that. They really sign off on it. They may review it and give you some pointers if you so choose. It's probably up to, I'll let Kevin talk about it. I won't speak for you. And us in Health Innovation Hub too, we're available. We'll have our email addresses there, and Katrina Heffernan here, she's over there, is a point of contact on the ground here, or Micah Toomey, or Noel, Noreen, and Neve. They're all, you may recognize them from around. Okay, so as I said, applications will be evaluated by Enterprise Ireland. We're looking at the size of the commercial opportunity, the advantages of your proposed solution over current solutions, the technical innovation as well should kind of be realistic, within the realms of what is possible, as opposed to too far down the future, and what is the benefit of it to kind of all the different stakeholders, the users, the payers, the payers are sometimes they will often different. Like a patient might pay for a treatment, could be coming from the insurance company or from the government or the hospital system. Okay, kind of gone through this already, so I won't go through it again. Here's an idea of how you do how you build your case with a competitor analysis. Basically, you're looking at your solution here versus a couple of competitors that you've identified, and then you will know what this means because you've done the research. But when you put it up in a graphic like this, your solution across the top is either green or, it's low risk. It does everything well, and it does things well that make sense. Like it's cost effective, it's usability, it's efficient, it's effective, it's sustainable, and it's scalable. It's not technical, if you understand what I mean. You keep it so that the reviewer, who may not be an expert in the clinical area that you're in, will understand this. This isn't like a HRB grant or an SFI one. This is really about showing the benefits of it. At why would people invest in it? Why would people pay for it? Why is it better than what's out there? Okay. Also, understanding who the stakeholders are is important. So there's a load of resources online through the Strategizer website for your business model and your value proposition canvas. That's really understanding who is going to pay for it, what their pain points are, and how you'll address them, or who's going to use it, their pain points, how it's going to address them. Okay, so what happens next? I might leave this to you, Zara, because there are a whole load of steps. So you'll start here today, and in 5 years' time, you'll be, spinning out a massive company, the next Medtronic, and Zara will explain how you do that. So, thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to see so many faces in the room today, and delighted to have the opportunity to speak with all of you. As I look around the room, I know that many of you already have, or maybe thinking about ideas from the healthcare setting that you have thought about potentially commercializing, or that they could have real world impact. So really that's what the Clinical Innovation Award is all about, is giving you the first stepping stone, a means by which you can actually test that idea and whether actually it would be feasible in the market. So I'm a commercialization specialist on the life science team in Enterprise Ireland. We work in the research and innovation division, and we are all about working with third level to try and get new startups off the ground. I'm joined by my colleague Ellen Byrne. So Ellen works on the life science side of the house as well, and actually looks after UCC in terms of any projects that are up and coming. So Ellen will be hopefully a future point of contact for some of you moving forward. So just to give you a bit of, I guess, background around Enterprise Ireland and where we sit for, I know some of you may know this, but others may not. So we are the state agency responsible for enterprise development. It is all around Irish enterprise, building and scaling companies that have the ability to sell internationally into new markets. Job creation is our number one kind of mandate, and what we're trying to do here is build jobs, build skills, and so that can come also back into the ecosystem and generate real value and impact for the island. In terms of investments, I think this is one of the things that not a lot of people are aware about, but we are really active when it comes to actual investments. So PitchBook actually ranked us first in Europe and second globally for active seed investments. So that's the number of seed investments that we do at an early stage. And we're very active when it comes to supporting new ideas and new startups. Again, from our side of the house, the research and innovation, the types of projects that will be coming through here is a small portion of it. We also have companies that go directly to our high potential startup division. But really, I suppose the stepping stone from the Clinical Innovation Award side has the opportunity to partner with the likes of the HEIs and other entities within the ecosystem to de-risk and develop technology. So in terms of the award itself, what is the objective? Stephen mentioned it earlier. It's all about exploring the commercial potential. And really it's kind of answering the questions, can it be done? Can we do it, and should we do it? And really, I guess, the point of this, the Clinical Innovation Award, applying for this and potentially getting funding to do this, it allows you to answer those questions and to really give you an answer as to whether it's worth pursuing before you actually start developing something. Some of the benefits that I guess you can get from potentially this journey is acquiring new skills. So you know, I think when you're working in a small team, you have access to some of the talent that's in the HEIs, as well as the, you know, your own clinical counterparts. You have the ability to also acquire new skills, and particularly from a commercial perspective as well. It's the opportunity to potentially transform and enable better patient care. So this is something that actually could translate. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, we are there to back real commercial opportunities. I will talk a little bit about the journey in the next couple of slides, but I guess this is one starting point, and we continue to support right up until you're securing your seed investment round. And you know, we do have a lot of kind of networks with Irish investors as well, and we also as an agency would support some of that activity and work. In terms of, I suppose, you know, career, there's a great opportunity here, and we see lots of different models of people coming from, you know, a healthcare setting, how they get involved with potentially some of these companies down the line. And so there is an opportunity to be part of a founding team. And, you know, it's really great when we start to see people coming from the healthcare setting and talking about their journey and all the benefits that they get from becoming part of a founding team and supporting the creation of new products and services. There's also the opportunity, obviously, to partner with the Health Innovation Hub, and there's great supports available there from ourselves and the Higher Education Institute. So I guess, like, you know, if you're successful in terms of, you know, receiving either the award, or also there is the opportunity to get access to feasibility funding for any potential, you know, good ideas, is that actually, you know, you may feel that you don't have all the skills to actually build a product. And that's where I guess the HEI comes in terms of the institute's been able to match you with people who will be able to help you build a product or service. And you know, that, I think that's really, really valuable. So it's just the message that, you know, you're not alone, and that this is kind of nearly like a mechanism to help you bring a team around you to support development. So Stephen mentioned earlier, I guess, kind of, you know, 3 critical areas. And if we think about clinical, commercial and technical, these are some of the things I think, you know, should get you thinking about what it is you need to address or test assumptions around in terms of your ideas. So I think the first thing is kind of the market opportunity. And that really is looking at not just the broader market, but actually segments of the market. So, you know, depending on what your solution is, where are you really honing in on, and where can you actually deliver value? The competitive landscape is critical. I guess you have to be able to benchmark how you're going to be better than what's already out there, whether that's through cost reduction, whether it's through delivering better patient care, but being able to articulate that and articulate it well is crucial. Sometimes I think, you know, it's important to remember that you're not just competing in terms of at a technical level, so direct product comparison. It's beyond that. So it's really about who else is trying to solve the same solution. So it could be, you could be a straightforward device and somebody's bringing in a digital solution with AI built into it. Whoever is out there trying to address the same problem, they are your competitors. And it's also important to remember that the current standard of care is also a competitor. So the way in which things are currently done, thinking about people behavior, resistance to change, how it brings change to the care pathway, etc., and ease of integration. So these are all the things that you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about competitive landscape. It's really important that it is addressing an unmet need, and that need is clearly articulated, and that there is a value proposition around what you're building and how it's going to solve that need. So I guess it's the product solution fit that makes sense, and it is the right thing to do. Novelty and IP. So I think, you know, and you know, I would encourage like Google patent is a great starting point in terms of having a look around to see what other claims are out there around specific devices. Is there anything that you think would give you an indication that maybe there is something already out there that would prohibit you from doing what you want to do? And so that's something else to just be aware of as you progress in the journey. You will get support from the Technology Transfer Office around this, and being able to really define whether or not there's room to kind of operate in the space. And that's where Kevin and the team would come in terms of support on your intellectual property, what is protectable, and how you can bring real defensibility to the startup. I've mentioned the care pathway already, but this is a really, I can't strongly emphasize this enough. I guess the feasibility will allow you to really dig into this through the kind of customer discovery piece, which I'll come to in a minute, but it can't be underestimated. Introduction of a new solution to a current care pathway. It's something that I think you really need to, and I know that you guys are coming from a healthcare background, but at a wide geographical level, what does it mean? And does it mean that this is going to change up someone's routine? Is it going to add more time? Etc. So it's really important to really dig into that. And the customer discovery piece will allow you to do that, is to go out, have those conversations. And I guess I'd say start small, within your own network and your own experience. The feasibility study will allow you to actually go broader than that. And so we'd always tend to say, look at the US, look at the rest of Europe. So you're getting a kind of a wide representation of what's happening globally and what it would mean to actually enter into a setting. So this is just an outline of the potential journey. So, and this comes back to the point I made earlier around the support doesn't just stop at the early stage feasibility. If there is, commercial merit in these prospects, the journey when you start with Enterprise Ireland means that you can apply for significant funding to actually develop and de-risk what you want to build. You get supports like access to, we have the Market Research Centre, so you get access to market intelligence. You also get access to mentors. So we have a network of mentors. These are typically people who are, in industry, they've had experience of been involved in startups previously, and they really want to give back. So they're there to act as a sounding board. Typically we go through kind of a matchmaking process. And we try and match people who are best suited to the project we think will be able to help you with specific questions that you might have and challenges that you might have. But it's a really great resource. Also within the Prospective Commercialisation Fund, we have what's called the Business Partners Programme. So on top of funding you might receive to develop your technology, there's an opportunity to potentially be matched with somebody who would come on board and potentially be a future CEO. And it's a mechanism by which we can introduce you to potential commercial people. But it's not saying that you have to do it, but it's an option. And there is also the capability, if you're lucky enough to maybe have met somebody you might want to bring on the project in the first instance, you can actually apply through the commercialisation fund to have them salaried in, so they can be a key hire on the project. We also have commercial training as part of the program as well. So we would have ran commercialisation fund networks. It's all about peer-to-peer learning, and specifically around key things that you need to be thinking about when you're putting together your business model, business plan, and also your readiness for investment. So thinking about things like how do I fundraise, what does it mean to get a good cap table, all those kind of things. So we're there to support you on that. Stephen mentioned Big Ideas. So this is kind of one of our big events where we basically take all of our kind of best prospects out of the pipeline and we put them in front of investors in a room and in an event on the day to try and get traction around potential deals. So this is has been a great event to date. And what we've really seen here is that it does gain movement in terms of investors getting visibility to what's out there. For us, it's really about connecting you into the investor ecosystem. And this is, something that's, we would say you should start to engage with the investment community as early as possible. But the Big Ideas event is all about getting you in front of them to actually pitch and share your ideas. As you kind of progress on, we also have Enterprise Ireland support in terms of our investor panels. So these are kind of safe practice pitch sessions that will allow you to actually, there are real investors on the panel, but allows you to pitch in a safe setting to get feedback and then refine the case that you're putting forward. And there's also support in terms of, follow-on kind of funding and that EIC accelerator. So we would have, this is large-scale European funding, we would have a number of national contact points that sit within Enterprise Ireland, and they work with teams on a regular basis to enable them to best prepare for applying to the EIC accelerator. We've had a number of success in terms of the startups that have gone for that. That is, it's a mix. So you have an option between either full grant or blended finance, so equity and grants. But because we're talking about a couple of million here, it's large scale monies. A lot of the projects would typically look at it as a next stage of development. High potential startup. I'd mentioned Enterprise Ireland Invest. So ultimately the goal is to, we're all about the client journey. So if the commercialization fund is successful and you're thinking about raising investment, we will also go in on a seed round. We'll never lead a round, but whoever is the lead investor, we tend to go in on the same terms. It's to kind of emphasize that the journey doesn't stop after the commercialization fund. And I guess actually the most critical part about all of this is you'll have the likes of myself and Ellen, commercialization specialists. We've 16 in total in the team, and we're there all throughout the journey. So right from when you come to us with an idea, right till I guess your preparation for investment and hopefully getting funding in to scale the company. So I think that's everything. I'm open to take any questions. I don't know if we want to do questions at the end, Stephen, or
we might do questions at the end. We'll just keep going unless there's any burning questions.
Seems to be one on the screen.
We'll get to those at the end. It'll be easier. Super. So Kevin's next, and we will do questions. Thank you, Lara. I suppose it's really important to understand as well that like these ideas are at the start, at the beginning of the journey, and your clinical experience and knowledge is massive. A lot of companies who are developing things like that or entrepreneurs from outside the healthcare setting don't have that insight. So you're ahead of the game in that space.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kevin Dalton, Commercialization Manager 104 in UCC Innovation, which is the name of the tech transfer office in UCC. I just want to jump to the very end, which isn't there. A couple of slides missing, I think, so it's kind of jumped in with the next presentation. I just wanted to go straight to the contact. So my email is k.dalton@ucc.ie. That's the main takeaway today. We are here to help. We will review applications. So if you do send them to us in a draft form, we will look at them. That's what we're here to help you with. We're here to help you with the commercialization, to look at the market, to see if you really explain that there's an unmet clinical need. We look at the IP, and we can do searches. So we can do those things. We can take them away from you. I guess what we're expecting is you're coming with the great ideas from the clinic, essentially, so we can help with the application. So do come to us. Just as we're fixing a few slides, I just wanted to start at the end of the presentation, because this is, you can go as far as you want to go. There's a slide with logos of companies that we've spun out in UCC. So clinicians, researchers, and UCC have, yep, that's the slide there. Still not working. Oh, it's here. Okay, so you mightn't recognize these names, but they're all UCC spinouts. What's interesting, we're here in Cork University Maternity Hospital, and this came from here. So the infant center research is going on, and there's clinicians like yourselves who have come to us and said, we have an idea and we want to try to commercialize it. And this is the result. These are companies. We're just about to sign documentation on Lonergan. So that's detecting seizures in neonates. You might have or not heard of metabolomic diagnostics. That's a company that's looking at biomarkers for predicting preeclampsia. Liltoda is software. It's a gaming software to assess infants under 3 for cognitive assessment. Surgenics is developing algorithms. So AI, machine learning, using data, so you can predict again the health of a baby. Okay, and you might have seen the program last night on TV. One of the doctors there, Fergus McCarthy, we're working with him. He's developing a new device called Fetal Safe. So that's going to be used on babies during delivery to look at the status of the baby, look at blood pH to see if there's blood oxygen getting to the baby. Okay, so that's the end result of where this could go. Just to go forward, or back actually. Okay, the main message I just want to give, we're here, you have questions, come to us. Okay, you have my email address. I'm one of 4 in the office. Emer O'Shea is in the audience here, okay, is my colleague. Okay, so we're here to help. What might be useful for you guys to know as well, we have a whole new team as well. It's called New Ventures. So if you're interested in being involved in the spin-out company, etc., okay, we do have a team. Okay, we have a spin-out manager. We have someone down in Tyndall, National Research. So if you have an idea that needs microelectronics, etc., you might want to collaborate with the technical experts in an institution like the Tyndall Institute. And we also have a manager who's running an accelerator program, so you get to know business, etc. You get to know what you need to know to run a business. This is the unit of the office that I'm involved. Okay, we're called Technologies and Commercialization Team. There's generally 4. There's one out of maternity leave at the moment. There's generally 4 of us. I'm involved in life sciences primarily. So the projects that I generally work on are medical devices, therapeutics, digital health. Okay, so these all might be solutions that you might be thinking about at the moment. Okay, so that's the team. We have someone down in Tyndall primarily. We work together. Often solutions now are about coming together with technologies and finding experts within a university. So we have access pretty much to all the researchers in UCC. We know them. We know who might be able to help you guys as well develop your ideas. This is just a slide of, you know, what do we actually do on a given day. So the first thing we do, we go out and meet researchers. So we scout. We're scouting for new ideas. We're scouting for ideas that might be inventions. What we do then is we evaluate them. So just like the application forms that come in, we can evaluate them. We can give you pointers, maybe improve them. Okay, we want to see if they have commercial potential. So we want to see that it's addressing an unmet clinical need. In this case, there's a big enough market. You mightn't have heard of TAM before, but it's a total addressable market. These are things we need to know. How many patients out in the world actually need the solution? Because you have to link it back into the commercialization. Someone's actually probably going to bring this to the market and needs to make money. Okay, so it's a consideration you have to think about. Okay, is bringing a product or service to the market where someone is actually making money, otherwise they won't invest. Enterprise Ireland is willing to invest at the next stage. After you do maybe a feasibility, they can invest up to $1 million. That includes 30% overheads, but that's a lot of money. It's known across Europe as best practice. So Enterprise Ireland are giving something to researchers that will get you from an idea over this kind of valley of debt and develop this technology before it might be commercialized. What we do here is next step is we look at it. We look at patents. We want to see if it's novel, and if it is, and if it's not obvious, we protect it. And we have a budget, so we spend the money. So we can spend 50 to 100,000 over the course of getting a patent granted, and that comes from our budget. So that's available to anyone as well as we go forward. The support really, and I'm not going to go into it because I think Zara did a good job. There's support out there from a funding perspective. The commercialization fund after possibly doing a feasibility is open, and that's where you could get access really on saying if there's $1 million out there that you can go for. So if it's a great idea, why not? We market, okay, so you have to market technologies, you have to get it known, you've got to find that other people are going to support it. So we put together packages summarizing technologies, etc., and get it out there and get it known. And we also negotiate deals. So I'm also a certified licensing professional, which means I do sit down across the table and negotiate licenses, which generally involves royalties, etc. So that's where the return is. So that's how you make money by licensing technologies. It could be into a spin-out that you're involved with. It could be into a company that's already out there. Okay, that money comes back in to the university and gets spread or distributed back to the inventors, also to the departments that you're involved with. So this is our office, UCC Innovation, as I said. Our mission is to maximize impact of UCC research by getting technology, ideas, and expertise into the hands of business swiftly and easily for the benefit of the public and the economy. Okay, so that's why we're here. That's why we're paid. We're divided into 3 units. Probably UCC consulting isn't relevant here, but we do have consultants across universities that help industry based on the area of expertise that they're involved with. The new ventures is new spin-outs, which we just described, and technologies and commercialization is the team that's going to help you with these applications. That's it. I've gone backwards, okay? But I've started where you can end up if you dream big enough. And it's 10 minutes is gone as well, which is great. The only advice I would give is if you're trying to solve a problem, solve big problems. So that's where the market is, okay? So you need to know what the market is. How many patients is this going to affect, okay? So think big, okay? And being contradictory, you can also think very small because there's also orphan diseases, etc., which doesn't affect many patients, but that's certainly something to look at as well, because there's lots of support as well for looking at orphan diseases. That's it. You have my contacts, so reach out. Thanks.
Kevin. That's not to say that there aren't supports out there for if you have an idea that isn't on a global scale or you're going down a medical device. There are other groups, Local Enterprise Office, New Frontiers program with Enterprise Ireland. There's loads of them, the Spark program within the HSE, etc. But for this, it really is about that big project, that commercialization piece. Okay, so our next piece now are 2 here from UCC. I'll just want to show your picture first. Get through here. So last year on the Clinical Innovation Award, we had 4 winners, 4 groups that received funding. Seamus Morris up in Dublin, for his solution. Loads of information on this on our website, hih.ie. And our guys here, Marie, Sarah, and Brendan. So I'll let you guys take over. I might close that off so people can see.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you for asking us to present our journey and how we got to win the Clinical Innovation Award last year. And we're excited to tell this journey because it has been exciting, it has been rewarding, and we've come a long way through our involvement with Health Innovation Hub Ireland and Enterprise Ireland and the TTO. But we've also had key learning moments, or for want of a better word, we've made mistakes. And I feel that today is an opportunity, you know, for you to learn from us so that these mistakes aren't repeated. So this journey started over a decade ago, back in 2010. And what we did was we undertook a study in the neonatal intensive care unit to see how well we were feeding preterm babies, because as you know, they're one of the most vulnerable patient groups in society. And this was a very successful collaboration across University College Cork and CUMH. And the team at that time included myself, clinical specialist neonatal dietitian, Dr. Brendan Murphy, consultant neonatologist, and Professor Marie Kiley, nutrition scientist from UCC. And Sarah has since joined that team over the years. And what we observed was substantial nutrient deficits and growth failure in our cohort of preterm babies. And this was very concerning because of us knowing that nutrition can directly impact neurodevelopmental outcome. And yet, when we took a deep dive into the nutritional care of preterm infants, we could see there was a big gap in the evidence. And this was actually forcing clinicians to make a best guess decision about clinical care. And it was also creating huge variability in practices. So one doctor's approach could be very different to another doctor's approach in terms of nutritional practices. And this wasn't just in Cork, this was global. And it's still being reported in the literature as a big problem, this huge variability in practices and this ongoing problem with nutrient deficits and growth failure. So we knew we needed to improve what we were doing, our management of the babies that we were looking after. So what we did was we looked at the data that we collected from that study, and we used that complex data to create a very simple solution. We changed the lens in how we looked at nutritional care, and we took a deep dive into that nutrient data. And what we came up with is a very standardized nutrition system that has really simplified the workflow for clinical staff, but it's delivering superior clinical outcomes in terms of growth and nutrient intakes, also massive cost savings for the health service, whilst delivering equity of care for these babies and a much more efficient workflow. So as part of our journey, we engaged with industry to come up with 2 products that we could use at the cot side for these babies to deliver this better nutrition. And we rolled these products out, the system out in 2018 in CUMH. And it was very apparent early on that this was having a big impact in terms of growth, nutrition delivery, and a much easier workflow. So other units across Ireland saw this happening and wanted to use the system. So in 2018, this system, PremSmart, was endorsed for a national rollout. And we're delighted to say the team that it now represents 95% of all preterm parenteral nutrition use in Ireland. And I suppose as clinicians, you know, we were delighted to be able to share this information because we knew that it was going to improve outcomes for babies. We'd seen it in our own unit and we were delighted to share it with other units. And I guess when we look back, we would say that we might have done things a little differently in that if we'd known there was a tech transfer office, we would have gone to them before we shared the information publicly to see, was there an opportunity for business opportunity here or an opportunity to protect the intellectual property, maybe patent the products. So what I would urge you is that if you feel you have got something in your pocket that is meeting an unmet need, that is novel, that there's potential IP, I would urge you to engage with this Clinical Innovation Award because it allows you that pathway through Health Innovation Hub Ireland to get to the TTO who can assess, is there IP here? Is there something that can be brought to a commercial level or business level. And this was a real key learning point for us. Also, what we learned too is that we've, through the help of HI and tech transfer, we've managed to trademark the system, PremSmart. And what we've also done, which was a key learning for us, was not release the clinical validation data yet that supports the validity of the system until we completely explore the commercial opportunities that are potentially at hand. So they're on hold until we fulfill that pathway. And that was very informative for us, because once that information is released, that clinical data is released, you quash that commercial opportunity. And then I guess another real luxury that I've had personally on the team was to, having won the team winning this award, was to engage on the NHS Clinical Entrepreneur Programme, which is based in the UK, and it's we're cohort 7. So it's the 7th year of this programme being running, and it's definitely been a career highlight for me. It is really equipping the clinician with skills, information about how to maybe become an entrepreneur. And I had never intended of being an entrepreneur. I'm still wondering, but what I do know is that I am passionate about preterm infants and about getting this story out there and getting this message out there, because it's really important. And we believe that this system could sit in any unit globally and really addressing an unmet need. So my advice and what I've learned from this entrepreneur program too is to, if you have an opportunity of getting a mentor early on, the mentoring is so important. Somebody who's been through it or understands the journey is really key. And I've also learned, and late to it, is LinkedIn. And this is something you can do yourself without the need for a clinical entrepreneur program or, you know, other platforms. That this is something you can do yourself, is to set up a LinkedIn profile, start following the key clinical opinion leaders in the space, maybe think about becoming one yourself. But it's really good at that networking and expanding your knowledge base on the subject and understanding who the competition is. Or maybe the competition could be a partnership. So it's been a real eye-opener for the team. So, and I just wanted to say as well that through the help of Health Innovation Hub Ireland, Tech Transfer and Enterprise Ireland, we are moving on to the next stage of innovation and research and possible digitization. And I'm going to hand you over to Sarah now, who's going to discuss that aspect of our journey. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Sarah Fenton. My clinical role, I'm the neonatal pharmacist. I'm delighted to be here to share some of the benefits that we found as a team from engaging with the Clinical Innovation Award. So one kind of really important and exciting event we had is through the award, we had the opportunity to travel to New York. And there we visited 3 large healthcare centres, which are leaders in the neonatal space. And it was a great opportunity for, that customer discovery. After we came back, we sat down as a team and we focused on kind of what we needed to be our next steps. And I'm currently undertaking an employment-based PhD with the hospital and the infant centre. And we were able to align some of the research work of the team with the commercial side to figure out what were the next things we needed to do. So what we understood from that visit was their care provision in America is very different to ours. It's very individualized. And if they were to move to a standardized system, there would be, it would be a big change of practice. So in my research, I'm looking at our experience of scaling up and sustaining the innovation across Ireland and what we can capture and learn from that in order to transfer the innovation to another healthcare setting. I suppose secondly, we learned that their workflow is very different to ours, so we would need to do a pre-implementation piece to understand feasibility, acceptability and appropriateness of our innovation. So for example, their nutrition supply chain is very different to ours, their workflow. And I suppose thirdly, what we understood is, it's very much about that economic piece. So that will be another part of my research where I will look at the economic impact of the innovation. And I suppose, it just important to, you know, we're very involved in research, but as Stephen said, there isn't always money out there to fund all the research we want to do. So commercialization or exploring commercialization is a very important way to help scale up the work that we're doing on the ground so that it can reach more people and have an impact in the wider population. I suppose the second really key benefit from engaging with the programme has been we were able to develop a digital prototype of our system, which is currently paper-based. So we got initial seed funding from the CUNH Innovation Award, and then that was topped up through the innovation programme. And that was a lovely piece just to have to use it for our pitches so that our customers could understand what it would look like if it was digital. And I suppose it gave us an understanding of what we would need to do to create a model that would be digitalized. And I suppose that's a really important next step for us to increase access and also move into that kind of data analytics, collecting population data about preterm nutrition, because they'll give the next steps forward in improving our overall population health. So we would have never had the opportunity to, you know, explore that customer base or look at a digital prototype without the support, not only in terms of money, but also the personnel of the HI. So I would again echo what Anne-Marie said to really consider engaging with the programme. And even if it isn't this year that your application is ready, you can start having that discussion now and you might be ready for next year's application.
Thank you.
Thanks a million, guys. I'll open it up to questions now. But before I do, just housekeeping. The application deadline is the 28th of September. And just to kind of reiterate, the guys are on a journey. They weren't speaking like this when I met them first. Now they're talking about innovation, pivoting, you know, cap tables, all sorts of, yeah. And it doesn't take long to get you thinking like that or speaking like that. It's just basically, it's just a framework to work by. All of this is, for want of a better word, free. The supports from Enterprise Ireland are free. But I mean, we're all paid to do it by Enterprise Ireland, etc. But for ye coming in, it is they're there for you to use, and we're the only country in the world that has this. Normally, you have to go out and take a loan, or you know, you're surrendering equity, etc. very early. Here, you don't have to. So it's worth taking a punt on it. So